Welcome to Parish Council Accounts. In this video I will discuss the benefits of running our software and show you how it works. We believe that the software needs to be simple and have designed it with this in mind. We have three aims: to provide a simple, easy to use accounting program for parish councils, to allow you to enter and extract all your financial information in a straightforward way, and to be a secure platform to access your data with all the benefits of running online. There are a few benefits in running an accounting package opposed to spreadsheets, and these are: it reduces the risk as everything must balance within the software. It can easily be passed on to your successor. Can be accessed from any device with an internet connection. Allows multiple users. You have control over the users and the level of access. You may also want to set up your auditor with read-only access. They could then access all the information they would need. You have automatic backups. You don't need to worry if anything happens to your computer. You would just sign in on another computer and pick up where you left off. You have secure access with all the latest security certificates. Here are some of the facilities the software has to offer. You have easy to enter screens for receipts, payments and transfers. There's a bank reconciliation facility. You can enter, manage and run reports for all your budgets. This includes actual figures, budget figures and variances. Reports to analyse your finances. So these can include income and expenditure reports, cash movement and transaction lists. Reserve management. Know exactly how much you have at any time in your general and earmarked reserves. Record VAT and produce a report for your VAT 126 claim. AGAR figures that are calculated at a click of a button. Multi-user access. You can also attach documents to your transactions. This is ideal for heading towards a paperless office. This is also great for audit, as the paperwork can be viewed at a click of a button rather than trying to find the documents stored on a computer somewhere. You also have project analysis, so this is another level of analysis. If you're running a particular project, then you can analyse the income and expenditure separately. Help and support. As well as making the screen simple and easy to use, we also provide in-depth documentation. We know sometimes it's easier to see the process on the screen rather than reading a document, so we have also compiled videos on every aspect of the software, and these are available on our website. We do the setup for you to enable you to get started straight away. Now let's take a look at the software. So once you've logged in, this is the screen that you will see. So you have some menu options down here on the left hand side. So if we start by inputs, so this is the screen that you would input all your transactions. So you can input receipts and payments and transfers. So if we start with receipts, so all money received will be booked through this screen. So very simply, all you do is fill in the information with the asterisks next to them. This is the mandatory fields, and you can enter some optional fields as well. So you'd enter a reference, and the amount, give another reference, the effective date will default to today, and this can be changed quite simply by clicking on the calendar box. You can attach your document there if you want to, and in the account code field you just right click and that will give you a list of all your receipt codes, and you just click on the relevant one. And this is going to be for my general reserve, and you have a project code if you want to analyse this to a particular project. Then all you do is click on confirm and record, and that's the receipt entered. So if we have a look under payments, so this is where you would enter all your money you've spent. So again, same as receipts, you'd fill in the information, so you'd give it a reference. So this is what normally appears on your bank statement, so you'd put something in there that ties that in. Total, references, and then in the account you'd right click and you'd get a list of all your payment codes. Now, the chart of accounts, you have full control over what this is set up as. You start with our standard and we would amend it according to what you require. So moving on to transfers, we have money transfers and reserve transfers. So money transfers is used if you're moving money from one bank account to another. So really easy, you just put the date in at the top there, choose the reserve that the money belongs to. So it's your general reserve and you're going from, say you're going from your bank account to your deposit account, and you just enter the amount that you're transferring and you give it a reference. And that's it. Just confirm and record, and that's it done. You also have reserve transfers. So let's say you want to move some money from your general reserve into an earmarked reserve. So you'll just say I'm moving it from that one, and it's the money is sitting in my bank account, but I want it to be allocated to, in this case, the defib reserve. And again, you just put in the value and a reference and confirm. What the confirm button does is it just checks that everything's been entered, you're not missing any information, and everything adds up, and you just click on record and that's it done. You have a journal booking program. So this is generally for adjustments. So you give it a reference at the top there. You can put some further comment in if you want to. Change the effective date if you need to. In the account code, you just right click and this will give you a list of all your accounts. So you just select the right one. And then you have your debit and credit. So whichever way round you want to do it. And then moving down here, you select the account you want, in this case credit. And you can choose the reserve that you want to post this transaction for. If you leave it blank, it will just default to the general reserve. And then once you've entered that in, you just do a confirm and record, and that's it done. Let's have a look at the bank reconciliation screen. So in here, we're going to do a new bank rec. We select the money account that we want to do it for. So let's say our current account. We give it a reference. Now we select the month or the date we want to go up to. And then we would enter the figure that's on the end of your bank statement. Now just click on confirm. It will list all the transactions up to the end of the month or date that you selected that haven't previously been reconciled. And all you would do is click on update, and you go through, compare this to your bank statement and reconcile the entries. So we're just double clicking on the recon column to say yes, it's been reconciled. You can double click on this column here to drill down into the transaction if you want to view it. And once everything's been reconciled, you should end up with a difference of 0. And you would just record that. And that's it done. You can also update an existing one. So there's the one we've just entered. So you can change anything about it if you need to. You can also print and preview a report as well that gives you the numbers. Now let's take a look at budget maintenance. So this is where all your budgets are entered. So what you do is you'd select the reserve that you're entering the budget for. So let's say our general reserve, and we will enter it for, say, April 24. And we're going to start with salaries. So it's now put the information up here on the screen. So these are all the budgets for your months. So we can update this and enter the numbers or change them. You can use the arrows to go along, enter one that we haven't already entered. So here we're entering the budget for expenses, so you just click on update. You can manually type the numbers in against each of the months, or if you have a year total, you can enter that in, and you could also do an apply equal split, and it divides that between the different months. You can also manually amend each of the months as well if you want to. Also gives you your previous year's numbers here as well for reference, and just record. And that's it done. Under the inquiries menu option, you've got 3 different types of inquiry screens. So if we have a look at transaction inquiry, so this allows us to view the transactions against a particular account code. So you select the account that you're interested in. So let's say I want to look at salaries, select that code. So it will list all the transactions at the bottom here, and you can narrow it down by date range if you want to. So if I'm just looking for transactions for a particular month, I can put the dates in there, and it will just show you those transactions for that month. Let's go back to our bank account. Again, we're just showing the transactions for January. You can also narrow down the type that you're looking for. So if we right clicked on the word type, you could just choose receipts or payments. So let's say we want to look at just receipts. So it will just show you the receipts booked against that bank account. You can double click on the asterisk column on the right hand side, and that will drill down into the transaction. So this will show you the details. You also have a balance. So this will give you the past 24 months balances for this particular account. Let's go back to look at everything. So again, when you drill down into the transaction, you have a change button at the bottom here. So providing the transaction is in an open month, then you can change or delete the transaction. The other option you've got is reserve inquiry. So the screen is similar, but this is looking at the transactions for a particular reserve rather than account. So again, you can double click on the asterisk column to drill down into the transaction. If you have a document attached to the transaction, you will see a D in this column. You'll just double click on the D and it will open up the document for you. As before, you've got balances, and you can narrow it down by date range or by type again. And then finally you have got project inquiry. So this again gives you the transactions relating to the particular project. Again, you've got the same thing as before. We can narrow it down by date range or by type. And you have your balance. Let's have a look at some reports now. So moving on to the reports menu option. We've got an income and expenditure report. So we can do this for month, quarter, year, 2 or a date range. So let's say we want to do it for a year. You can do it for a particular reserve or leave it for all reserves consolidated. Now we choose which account codes we want to appear on the report. Everything's automatically ticked, so you'll get every single report section and account on the report. Each of these sections are like titles on the report, and you specify which accounts appear under each section in your chart of accounts. So let's have a look at this report. So you can see here, these are your report sections, and these are the accounts underneath. So this is one of your receipt accounts, and then your payments. And then a total surplus deficit at the end. For this income and expenditure report, your VAT is separated out. So the values against your expense codes are going to be net of VAT. Then you have the VAT figure that you can claim at the bottom. So if we have a look at the receipts and payments balances report now. So again, we can specify which account we want to appear on the report. So if we did any value, that will give us everything. Or you could do between. Let's say we just want to look at our payment accounts. And then we can specify which date or month that we want to run the report for. So we'll do this for a month. And again, you could narrow it down by reserve if you want to, or you leave it blank and that'll do everything. So let's preview that one. So this report will give you each of your accounts and the balances. So you've got your value there and the VAT value and then the total. Let's have a look at a reconciliation statement. So the screen looks quite familiar. It looks like the income and expenditure report. We've got the selections at the top here. So let's do it again for a month. Let's do it for February this time. And we've got all our cash accounts are automatically selected. If you don't want to print something, you just uninclude it. There we go. So it gives you your balance of your bank accounts as at the end of February in this case, and the total at the end. You've got a transactions list report. So again, we can specify a particular account. So if I want to see all the transactions that have gone through against salaries, for example, and we can put a date range, or if I did date, any value, so basically any date. Again, you can narrow it down by reserve if you want to. And this will give you your opening balance, and then all your transactions in and out, and then a closing balance at the end. And you have a cash movement report. So let's select our current account. Again, we've got a period selection here, so I could do a particular date if I wanted to, or a month. So again, like before, we've got your opening balance, transactions in and out, and an end balance. Your AGAR report, this will give you the numbers for your AGAR return. So all we do is select the year end, and it populates the fields for you. The only one you have to manually enter is your assets figure, which you should maintain outside of the system, and you just input the number in here. You can then print or preview the details on this one. So this is what the report looks like. And then you have your VAT report. So for this one, you simply put the date range in there. And then you just click on transfer. Ask where you want to transfer where you want to save the file to. Save it to your web file folder. Put in the file name. Click on save. That's now downloaded that report onto my local computer in the downloads folder, and then you can open that up in Excel. That gives you all the relevant information you need for your return. On the right hand side here, you've got your budget and project reports. So if we have a look at budget variance, so we put our date range in here, so let's say year 2, the end of March. And then these again are the report sections that we saw earlier on your income and expenditure report. So there's some other different options you can select here. So if you just preview that one. So in here you'll see it's the same format as your income and expenditure, where you've got your report sections in the accounts. So you've got your expenditure here, and you've got your actuals and budgets, and then a variance. Then we've got a budget versus actual report. So again, we can put our year start. So let's do April 23 this time. We can narrow it down by reserve if we want to. And now we can specify the account code. So if we're just interested in the payment accounts, we could just select those. Let's preview that one. So you can see here it's got the account code, and it's got the, for each month, it's got the budget, the actual, year-to-date budget and actual, and the remainder. And then totals at the end. And you've got a budget only report, so this will just give you your budget figures, no actuals. If I do any this time. So you've got all your account codes and then your budget figures and then your totals at the end. You've got a project income and expenditure report. So again, you've got some different period selections here. So your projects might run differently to your financial year. So if I just did it for one particular project. So that gives you the balances for your accounts for that one particular project. And then you have a project transaction list. So this will give you all the transactions relating to that project. And again, you can put a date range in, or if I did date, any value, so that gives everything. So this gives you your opening balance and your transactions and your closing balance for this particular project. All the reports can be printed, previewed or exported. So you can export them to PDF or a CSV file or something like that. There's a recent entries menu option here. So this will give you a list of all the transactions that you've recently entered with the latest at the top. So the date is the date that you entered them, not the effective date. So if you want to view any of the transactions, you just double click on the asterisk column and it will drill down into the entry, and from here you can change or delete the transaction. You've also got a find facility at the top here, so we can find by an amount or a reference. So let's say we're finding an amount of £100. Click on find and it'll give you a list of all the transactions for a value of 100, and you can just select the transaction from there. And just having a look at the administration menu. So we've got some options in here. So under getting started, here's your chart of accounts. So this will be set up for you by us when you start. So this will give you a list of all your bank accounts and your receipts and payments accounts. So you can add to this at any point. You also specify which agar box the balances feed into. We'll report section. So these are the titles that you saw on the income expenditure report and the budget report. So you set up the sections here and you attach the report section to the relevant account code. Again, this will all be done for you on setup. You've got reserves, so if you wanted to add any earmarked reserves in the future, you can add them in here. You can have as many as you need as well. System maintenance is just maintaining your parish details. And then opening balances, so this is the screen that you would use when you very first start to enter your opening balances. But again, this is done for you, so you don't need to worry about that. Then you have open close. So this allows you to close the account month. So when you've finished entering your transactions and everything reconciles, it's advisable to actually close the month. This will prevent anything from being entered into that month. And you also got close year, so when you finish with your financial year, you would close it. And you have some reopen options as well, so that you could, if you want to make an adjustment in the month or the year, you can reopen them. You also have a sign-off month, so if you have somebody who wants to come in and sign it off, so prevent anybody else from reopening it, then you can use that. Under system settings, you've got user maintenance, so this is where you add in your users, so you can tell them what level of access they've got. So if you were to add a new one, you can have read only, read or write, read and output, and read, write and output, which is full access. So output being output the reports. You can add as many users as you need. Project maintenance, so if you're running a particular project and you want to analyse your transactions, your income expenditure for that project, then you would add that in here. Year maintenance, so this is just telling the system when your years run. They will automatically be entered for you at the beginning of each year, so you shouldn't really need to use this screen. And then you've got your VAT rates. So in here you specify the percentage, so VAT code 1 being 20%, and you can have some additional VAT rates there with different percentages if required. And the last one being user settings. So this allows you to change the passcode of the user that you're logged in as. So you can't change anybody else's, but you can change your own. And you've also got colour scheme. So if you wanted to change your colours, you can change the background colour, for example. You just select whichever colour you want, and that'll change the background colour. But that's only for the user you're logged in as.